My name is George Hughes, and over the next few minutes, in conjunction with the House Committee on Un-American Activities, I will be sharing with you, God-fearing Americans out there, some extremely important information that will prove vital to preserving our pure and patriotic way of life. You see, our nation has been infiltrated by a threat that, as recently as several weeks ago, had yet to be seen by our top men in Washington.
Quite literally flipped the script on conservative conversations regarding homosexuality by presenting heterosexual men as deviant or strange, maybe even dangerous, the same way that gay men have been portrayed historically. I thought it was very ironic that they kind of flipped the conversation like that, which certainly added a level of comedy to this film. And it really allowed the audience to see how ridiculous homophobia is, and that we must remember um, that that history has included gay people, and it's not just a new thing that people have become gay. Um, the cinematography was really great. The um, black and white coloring of the film really set a historic tone. Um, and I thought the costumes were also really funny. The plaid suit worn by the presenter felt very flamboyant, whereas it was kind of deviant from the traditional conservative dark suit, plain suit that a maybe heterosexual politician or news presenter might wear. And then the heterosexual men presenting in workout clothes and plaid flannels, really just playing into different stereotypes was really funny.
Equivalent to reefer madness, a form of propaganda, a form of satire, and it's executed incredibly well. We fall into the tropes of how to spot a heterosexual man, whether it comes to um, having Quentin Tarantino be your favorite director, or, them being vulgar and crude on a dating app, or all of these little things that honestly we can relate to, being a woman. And it's kind of poking at the notion of, this take on the way that people ridicule homosexuality, and the propaganda, and just not even propaganda, just the real life opinions of people. And this take of, like I said, my mind goes back to Reefer Madness here, and how they, try to instill this sense of fear. They try to show you that being a heterosexual is kind of something to look down upon, and it's kind of hey, um, kind of taking a sip of your own medicine, so to speak. So it was really fun to watch, and I liked that it was black and white. I liked the way that it had presented itself with the sound design and the music. It really is cohesive and like falls together, and uh, is puts you in like a twilight zone, so to speak.
As you can see, like the short has replicated the 50s Hollywood movie aesthetics in the form of the announcement meant to make fun of heterosexual people. But technically, we're not in that kind of era, in that kind of like situation, because instead homosexuals are targeted for this negative perspective of the people. So this one is good for us to perceive how vile and unkind some heterosexual people would have on homosexuals, and at the end kind of highlight that yes, like all heterosexual people try to push down like uh queer or even like women into an inferior position to make them looks higher and they make them look superior. So this is such a good comedy on LGBTQ perspective that we might not see that much.
They formed this as a public service announcement, and it's stylized to appear as if it's occurring in the 50s. And it's meant to teach the public about how to spot heterosexual. And why satire is because, you know, it's taking this ridiculous concept and it's making it the reality of this piece. And it's using very stereotypical things to spot a heterosexual. Like, for example, straight men behavior falls under the categories of gym rats, or those that like Quentin Tarantino, or men that behave on dating apps and focus on sexual aspects, or use 3-in-1 body wash. You know, it plays on the ridiculous. But the joke of it all is to play on this ridiculous satire, but to make it very, very serious in the frame of this very serious public service announcement. And I think that that's where the comedy comes from in this piece. And I thought that they did a good job in taking what is clearly shot in the present day, but stylizing it in a way that it is shot in the past through the way the announcer talks and through, you know, the use of black and white.
I loved the way they took that 1950s black and white feel and they took that and they ran with it, and they ran with it to so many awesome places. The actor did an amazing job. What was so impressive to me was he got the cadence down of that 1950s kind of announcer host type of person that you would see on the television shows back then. So I think that that was amazing. Many parts of this were very, very funny. It was very tongue in cheek while making a very, very powerful point. And I loved the fact that they did that. I also loved how it went slowly, faded from black and white to color, and you got to see this behind the scenes ending. I thought that that was phenomenal.
Quite amusing to watch. It was done very well for comedic humor. It actually seemed like something that they could have shown in the 1950s on television. With those weird school videos that they would show sometimes that are still on the internet that teachers would show. It's kind of like that. The vintage quality of it was very well done. This was beautifully written to be a great parody. It's what made it funny. It was well directed. Everything. It sounded very much like an infomercial in an after-school special without it being one. It's quite well done. Now, the writer and director clearly both have a knack for humor, and they got actors that could really act it well to show kind of how ridiculous some of the 1950s videos were with their overacting and danger tones and everything else. So this was really well done.
Really enjoyed the comedy vibe that we have in here. The fact that it is a twist on what once back in the day it used to be an actual thing, you know, trying to spot homosexual people. Now here is try to spot a heterosexual. I think it was very funny, and I really enjoyed how the film is also structured behind this black and white filter, and the acting and the performances are really, really great.